Hi class, so welcome back. So we're gonna do the K clustering part of it in Python. So again, K means clustering is an unsupervised learning algorithm that tries to cluster data based on their similarities. So remember, we use the Euclidean distance to be able to create this. So we start with this centroids and we try to find the distance of the data nearby, and whoever is closer to that, kind of like a circle, a radius of the of this k this Euclidean distance, then they're all gonna be part of the same class. Unsupervised learning means that there's no outcome to be predicted, and the algorithm just tries to find the patterns in the data. In K-means clustering, we have specify the number of clusters we want the data to be grouping, so we can decide how many clusters we want. So sometimes it's just try and error. The algorithm randomly assigns each observation to a cluster and finds the centroid of each cluster. So in the beginning, those centroids are randomly placed, and then we, as the model is trained, it modifies until it finds the best fit location for the centroids. Then the algorithm iterates through those two steps, reassigning the data point to the cluster whose centroid is closest, calculates the new centroids of each cluster. These two steps are repeated until the within the cluster variation cannot be reduced any further. Within this cluster variation, it calculates the sum of the Euclidean distance between the data points in the respective centroids. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna import some data. So we're gonna do import Seaborn as SNS, and then we're also gonna import the matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, and then we're gonna also do a percentage of the matplot lib in inline. Right, so we're gonna check if this is good. Right, so just doing import, so just to be able to graph our data, and the Seaborn again is just to graph. We're gonna export some data just to play around with this. So we're gonna look from the sklearn data sets. We're going to import the make blobs, and then we're gonna run this just to make sure it's good. We're gonna create the data. So from the data, we're gonna save it into our data. We're gonna make this dot blob. So we're gonna extract this data that is already built in this sklearn data sets. We're gonna select samples. We're gonna select 200 samples, and features. So remember, this is where this data is coming from. Data features, remember, is what data, the data that we use to be able to interpret, to be able to categorize our data. So for example, again, if we're looking at prediction of the house, if we should buy a house or not, then we look at the features. The feature would be what is the house price, uh, what is the interest rate, so that would be another feature. Centers equal to 4. Clusters, cluster standard deviation 1.8. We're just creating this random data, and we're gonna extract it so that we can play around with this data that we have. We're gonna run it to make sure that everything's good. We're gonna plot the data, and our data will be so we're gonna extract the first from our first column. We're gonna extract or our first element of our data. We're gonna extract everything, and So this would be like our data for our so this will be our x value, which is going to represent is going to be the data's, you know how we have two features, that's going to be one of the features data, and this is going to represent the other features data. We're going to have second features data. Color will be represented by the values of our color of our by the colors of one of our features. CMap rainbow. Where are we gonna get this colors from? From the rainbow option. I think I'm missing a C map instead of CPA. C map. Oops. There you go. So we have now this data, and we want to be able to now start clustering this data. So we're gonna from the sklearn dot cluster import KMeans. And then the KMeans is going to be, so we're gonna, now our model is going to be the KMeans. So we're gonna use this constructor from the class KMeans to be able to create this 4 cluster model. Is going to be 4. So we're gonna use 4 clusters, and then we're gonna fit the data. We're gonna use the data that we have that we created to train our data. KMeans, oops, sorry, KMeans. All right. And then we're going to see what the data that we have. KMeans dot cluster centers. Let's see what we have. So we have those numbers. And now what we want to see is we want to see our labels. So remember, this is going to be how is it going to be categorized for each data. And now what we want to do is we want to be able to we wanted to see the differences between the original data and the new K cluster data. So we're gonna use some graphs so to be able to visualize this. So we're gonna create this sub plots. 1, 2, cherry, true, fixed size equal to 6. Oops. So that just generates, we're creating a, so the 1 and 2 is saying that we're going to create one row with 2 columns. Okay. And, okay. And then, so this one, each one's going to represent, this is going to be x1 and x2. And so now what we want to see in x1 is, we're going to set the title, set title to KMeans x1 dot scatter. So this is going to be a scatter graph with data that we just got. So this is going to represent our x, and this is going to represent our y. So that the values, the points are still going to be the same. Now the colors will be represented differently depending on the k-means. So we're using the k-means color representation for the values that we have here. Okay, so this is again, the points are not going to change. The points do not move. The only thing that's going to be changing is the colors that we're going to be displaying on the graph. And so I'm just going to copy this. This is going to be practically the same thing. And it's instead of with a 2. And this is going to be now original. The original data. So we're just going to see them next to each other. This is going to be our data. So this is going to be the original data that we had. And so just the graph that we did before. And we're going to show them with the different color. Okay. So let's see. So we can see here in contrast the two different representations of the K cluster. And that will be the end for this video. This is a short one, so these lessons have been short. So there's not much to do just to be able to implement this K clustering. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next one.